Hello, and welcome back to today's episode of Words of the Wise. I'm here today with Chief Bronson Jr. of the Pleasant Valley School District. He spent 20 years with the City of Bethlehem PD, retired as a captain, and returned July 2025 as chief. Welcome to the show, Chief Bronson.
Oh, thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
Yeah, we're happy to have you here. You've said one of the most important lessons you've learned is that officers aren't numbers, positions, or resources, they're people. So, in a profession that often focuses on performance and outcome, why has that distinction become so important to you?
When I started as a police officer, I found that some of the best supervisors, leaders, didn't just look at us as pieces to move around on the deployment board. It was more or less they looked at us as people. And one of the prevailing statements I would always hear, and I still say to this day, family first. And what that meant was if you went to the supervisor and you needed time off, or you needed to leave a little early or come in a little late, no problem, family first. They understood that, yeah, we might be a little short, but we can cover for an officer who's maybe dealing with something not necessarily bad. It could be, I want to go to my kid's birthday party. You miss a lot of birthday parties and holidays and special occasions with your families to fulfill being a police officer, especially a patrol officer. I'm not even going to get into what detectives go through being called out, but to having a good supervisor that looked at that frontline officer as a person that stayed with me even to this day. In my role as chief of police, I have more seasoned officers that come to be school police officers, and they've already retired from prior policing, and I still carry that with me. That if you need time off, you got it. Whatever you need, we will manage because I understand how much it is to have that support structure at home and be able to fulfill your end of it as the person on the other side, the officer, to be able to get time off to spend time with your family. Just, sometimes you just need time to get away.
Yeah. You've mentioned birthday parties and showing up. I think in your career, you have to be on all of the time in
Yes.
your role. So then
Mhm.
taking that time off, how do you also show up and be on when you're at a birthday party and not just there? Because there's a difference of being present and being tuned in.
I am guilty of that. And my wife would always have to nudge me. You're not at work. Because sometimes it is challenging to turn off that police or leadership mind when you're at an event because I'm constantly checking my phone and my emails, and my wife has to constantly tell me, put it away. If it was important, they'll call you. This is your time. And I always, on the flip side, give that to my officers. Hey, when you're away from here, be away. That's my job to be attached to the department and have my finger on the pulse of everything. When your 8 hours is done, go home. Hobby, whatever it is, spend time with the family, the grandkids, the nephews, nieces. Do something else. Don't think about policing. I'm like I said, I'm guilty of it. I'll leave here. I'll turn off this podcast later, and we'll be on my phone checking emails, following up, making sure things are okay for the next day. But like I said, having my wife at home, she keeps me grounded, and she'll check me even after hours. She'll tell me, put the laptop or the phone away. Now is not time for that. So yes, there's a difference between being there, being present, and actually being there, enjoying the moment.
Was it always like that with your wife, or is that something she had to learn?
She had to learn, just like anything. It's relationships are it's a contract. It's a give and take, a negotiation. It's a constant negotiation. How about that? And yes, over the years, we've been together since 2002. And I got hired in 2000, so she was with me early on in my career, and she had to learn the intricacies of my personality when I get off shift, and just sometimes you carry weight as a police officer when you come home and you don't even realize it. And many years later, me and her had a good sit down, and I was going through a leadership training, and they went over personality traits and different things, and I had to take a personality scale. And I went home. When after they took the scale, I was like, "That's not me." I actually told the instructor, "That's not me. That none of those are who I am. I know that." And he said, "Go home and ask your wife." I went home, showed her, said, "See, they're crazy up at that school." No, she was like, "That's you." And at that point, this is before this is when I was scratching the surface of being a leader and what it really meant. I had blind spots that the people closest to me can see. And my wife sees it every day. So she had to, well, it was a hard conversation to hear these things. And I said, if you're seeing this and I'm doing this or I'm being this way towards you, I know it's impacting my officers that I want to lead. So I had some things I had to make some changes, be more conscious of, so I can alleviate. You're not going to get rid of all your blind spots, but it's good to acknowledge them so you know when you're straying off the path and someone says something, it clicks like, let me get back on the path that's in my blind spot. Let me address that. My officer's not just saying something to try to get at me. They are being honest, and it's time for me to be honest with the situation.
Think that's really important to have those people in your life who can hold
Mhm.
you accountable and call you out on your blind spots that you may not know because we'll call that the BS, the blind spots.
Yes, there it is. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And how can leaders create that same trust so that officers feel comfortable when they're
It's
struggling?
sorry. I think it's when you're having. Let me rewind it back just a little bit. You want officers being comfortable speaking to their supervisors. We can't be so rigid as leaders. Yes, we're in a paramilitary profession. We follow rank, chain of command. We follow lawful orders. All those good things that make us good police officers. Um, they also can make us a little rigid and make us start leaning back towards my officer is more of a means to an end and not a person. I like to keep it more in a line with you are a person, you have feelings. It's not, I don't care about your feelings. No, no. Your feelings are important. It has nothing to do with as far as, oh, you're too sensitive. No, no, no. Your feelings are important. If you feel like I'm not being a good boss or a good leader, I need to hear it because I'm running around thinking I'm being a good leader. And if you're not going to be honest with me and I don't give you that opportunity to be honest with me without me flying off at the handle or putting you on a really horrible assignment afterwards. If you feel like you can come to me and say, "Hey, Sarge, yesterday at briefing, you said this and this. It really didn't land well with the rookies in the room." I need to hear that. I think that's important because that sergeant, me or whoever, needs to circle back the next roll call or briefing and say, "Hey, listen, something came up and I want to reiterate what we spoke about at our last briefing and make sure everybody got it." It's not, I don't want anybody to feel ashamed that they didn't get it when I was in, and start giving when I was a young officer. So they understand you want to bring them along. But if that officer didn't feel comfortable speaking to the sergeant, this dialogue wouldn't happen. And you'll lose that connection, that opportunity to that level of comfort. Now, again, it's still a chain of command. There's still a level of respect you have to give your supervisors. But also that person, once they establish that conversation, I want to speak freely and I want to pass something on. You should, as a supervisor, should have an open mind and understand you have blind spots, not to quickly say, no, that's not me. I take it under advisement. I take it into consideration. I will look into this and make sure you circle back and follow up with that officer. I think they'll really appreciate that in the long run.
Yeah. At what point in your career did you notice that shift? I know there was a mentality of, oh, just like brush it off, rub dirt on it. That seems like it's shifting in this time period where you are listening and able to have those honest conversations.
When I came on a job in 2000, I came on a job with officers and supervisors that were still holdovers from the 80s and 70s. So it was if you complained about something, and not even necessarily complained, but commented about something as an officer, new officer like I was, that supervisor would say, "Get some time on the job, kid. That's where you keep your years in service slash marks on your sleeve." They tap on that because they have a whole bunch of them, and they let you know you don't even have one. Get some time on the job before you have the ability to complain about anything. So in the city of Bethlehem, you're a rookie until you reach your 5 year point, just to put it in perspective. So you have to spend 5 years on a job as a rookie. So that's a lot of time to be indoctrinated into the way things are, the culture. Now, the change kind of started shifting over with that social media era about 08, 09. We started getting officers coming on, newer officers coming on to the job that were more social media, how can I say, social media acclimated. They were better at social media than some of us that were far along or further along in the police world, and they had more of the why, why. And initially, that was seen as disrespect. Again, paramilitary industry, you're going to follow lawful orders. It's not why. We'll deal with that at another time, kid. Kind of was that's the way I came on. You just did once about 08, 09. Then when I got promoted in 2012, I understood. I started to learn, especially by going to different leadership schools. You're going to have to change some of the things you were taught when you came on in the profession. You can't cut the younger officers off and just say, just do it. Now, obviously, a hot situation, a shooting, an active scene. Yeah, well, we don't have time for why right now. But everything calms down and that officer is asking why in the right environment, right? They shouldn't be questioning you during a roll call briefing, but if they catch you, whether at your locker or back in the lieutenant's office, and someone to talk to you, you give them your ear and you explain the why. When you explain that why, you'll get a lot more buy-in. I've seen in this generation of workers that are coming on, these officers. If you just give them the why, they'll do it. Whereas back in when I came on, there was no why. You were scared to death. You asked the sergeant why. You just did it. Even if it sounded ridiculous, you just did it because you trusted that older sergeant knew what they were talking about and wouldn't put you in danger. You just did it. You didn't question policy. You just followed orders.
Yeah, it was very interesting. It's interesting how it shifted and and you came in on an interesting time too. You started right before 9/11.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. That changed everything in the world of law
Mhm.
enforcement. Whether you were at a small department, mid-sized like where I was at, or a large department, everything changed after that. And we're still, even as I go about today as the chief of this school district police department, we are still looking at the ramifications of that day in 2001.
Yeah. Yeah. Officers often leave academy, and I'm going to shift to wellness. They leave the academy in some of the best shape of their life.
Mhm.
How do you maintain that shape? And like, why do they often struggle to maintain that shape that they get into after academy?
I think what happens is in the academy, you spend 8 hours a day, whether you're in class, whether you're weapon proficiency, whether you're in the weight room, lifting weights, doing pull-ups. You go from that to now your 8 hours is whether it's day shift, middle shift, or even night shift, is in uniform on the road, running service call to service call. And uh, when you're at that phase in your training, your FTO, your field training officer, should be running you around to every call of importance. Even if it's not you're not assigned to that call, you should be there to witness it and observe how it's done right. So you're doing a lot early on, a lot of just observing and absorbing. Once you get through that phase, it's now your time. You're on your car by yourself. This It's an exciting time. You're living a whole different life. And I think that to me that leads into Dr. Kevin Gilmartin talks about it's like that roller coaster. When you're on shift, you're hyper vigilant. It's officer safety, everything. It's just at another level. It's hard to explain, but you're always checking your six. You're just ready for action because you have to be. There's no timetable when something's going to happen that requires you to shift gears and be officer ready for action. And then at the end of the day, as Dr. Gil Martin talks about, your body, I tend to, it kind of like crashes and you go home and you don't feel like doing anything. And that's where the weight room goes away. That's where the riding bikes go away. That's where the going out and just doing something goes away. And next thing you know, you put on 20, 30 pounds in your first 5 years and you don't even realize it until you're getting dressed one day and your wife is like, that doesn't fit anymore. It's time to upgrade either your wardrobe or you need to get back into the weight room. And again, you take the easy way out. You continue and that's, I'll just buy bigger waist sizes. I'll just keep going up. And then you realize when your doctor's telling you, you have to make some changes, then you're like, where did it all go? What happened? And it happens that fast. You get into that cycle. You don't even realize what's happening to you physically until some of us, it's too late. Some of us, we catch it, but there's some damage done already. Some things you can't roll back once it begins to occur medically. I would hope that most of us that we're reading or we're going to classes. I took a class. Dr. Gil Martin actually came out here and gave a class, and it changed the way I looked at things. No, I'm not running around lifting cars or anything, but I understand I have to do something when I get off. I just can't go home and pass out, although I feel like I want to every day. Right now, I'm wide awake. As soon as I get in that car and everything begins to just drop, I can feel it. And I'm already like sleepy tired. I got to do something, whether I hit the treadmill, got to do something to just offset the go home and go to sleep on the couch.
Yeah. And the everyday human, I mean, that's to be on like that, that's affecting your flight or flight response and your whole nervous system. And you're on like that, especially in the beginning for a full shift.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
affected that flight or flight response. And then
Yes.
you go home and it shuts down. And the weight of that, it's like you're at a high and you're at a low. And the everyday human doesn't experience that at those extremes. And then that's when it can start to really, over time, impact your cardiovascular system and all of these other health issues. So it gets in at a deeper level. So to be able to manage that and even it out.
Yes. And I think ultimately it's you talked about maintaining that
Mhm.
academy body. I'm
Yeah.
I'm 26 years removed almost from the academy body, but it's and then you look at some officers, they still look like they walked out the academy yesterday. Some of it's DNA, I get it, but some of it's putting in the work. They'll tell you I have to work twice as many hours in the gym a week to even maintain this because it gets harder to maintain that physique as you get older. It just naturally is. And again, with that cycle, when you crash at the end of the day, you don't even want to put in a quarter of what you used to in the weight room, let alone double what you used to.
I mean, and some of it comes with age too. The older you get, sometimes the harder it gets. Although I must
Mhm.
say, the other day it was over the weekend, I taught at a senior center, just a mobility circuit training class.
Mhm.
And there was a woman, she was 99 years old. She was doing it. And after our 45-minute class, she went and got on the bike after that. And I was so
Wow.
impressed by that.
Wow.
So I think, I mean, you can do it.
Mhm. Yes.
There's
Oh,
proof.
yeah. And that's after having taken that class with Dr. Gil Martin,
Yeah.
as officers came out the academy and matriculated back to our department. If I had a chance to speak with them one to one or one to a group, I would let them know, listen, it is easy to get into this cycle. Whatever you do, whatever it is, if you like the bicycle, if you like the hike, whatever it is, even because even I fell victim to it. I blame, oh, I got this, do I do with the kids? I
Mhm.
get it. Life happens, but make time to keep some type of physical hobby up that you used to do. He talks about the used to, yeah, that you used to. Don't let it become used to do. Talk about how you made it fit in your new lifestyle with wife, kids, or what have you, and law enforcement. It'll make your career so much more fulfilling, and you'll value it more at the end because you won't feel so beat down physically.
Yeah. And I think we get in this, you start off, you're very eager, you're young, you're eager. And then it's this middle part where you kind of fall off and you start, time feels like, you know, I never have enough time. That's
Mhm.
like where people get stuck. But you create even 15 minutes out of your day
Mhm.
just to
Yes.
do something for yourself, it will go a long way.
Yes.
Mhm.
And that's what I took from that class. We're not expecting you to be in a waiting room 3, 4 hours. That wasn't the point of that. It's you got to do something. You hit it right
Mhm.
there. It doesn't take a lot
Yeah.
to kind of change your mindset because you can build from there. That 15 minutes can become an hour of some things.
Yes. Yeah. It's like, in James Clear's book, Atomic Habits, it's building upon those habits. Like you said, like it might start at 15 minutes, but you get so used to it, then you start adding on
Yes.
habit building. So, yeah. What are some of the most common excuses you've heard or you've made for yourself?
Ooh. Well, like I said, I started with this is horrible. I started with like, oh well, it's my kids. I'm so tired because I got to go home and do this with the kids, so I don't have time for that. Again, that's just an excuse because you always have the time. You just have to find it or be willing to see it when it's there. You get off work. I had a long, rough day, and I need to decompress from my day. That's always a good one. I might not have said decompress, or I would just come in and shut down and say, "Ah, just a long day, a rough day," and that will be enough where no one would speak to me. Just your dad needs time, and that became a pattern. And sometimes if I think when you get off work, even if you had one of those days, it might be time to shift gears, go do something else. Take the little ones out for a walk, get them in the stroll, whatever. Shift gears away from I'm going to sit on a couch and just drown my sorrows. Get out, get away from it. It'll make you feel better, and it gives you a chance to look at whatever went on during the day from a fresh set of eyes a few hours later, and maybe that'll open up dialogue with your significant other. Hey, you know what, this happened today and I'm feeling in some type of way. It gives you an opportunity to just be refreshed instead of reliving it while in that exhausted mode, and you get some separation, you get a break from it, and then your significant other can tell you after you talked a little bit about it, look, why don't we circle back another time? Let's get some rest, sleep on it. I find that having a good night of sleep helps you see things with more clarity the next day.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's great advice. It's having that time and have fun. You get to have fun with your kids then. You take a
Mhm.
step and it doesn't have to be, you're creating those memories and that's
Mhm.
time that you're never going to get back.
You never get it back. That's right.
Yeah. If there's an officer listening today and feels stuck and they know they need to make a change, what's the first step you would encourage them to take?
Well, it sounds like they've already acknowledged there's
Yeah.
something going on they
Mhm.
don't like, whether they're losing their marriage, whether their child says something about their their drinking habits, but they say it the way a child would say, "Oh, it's that cop juice you're drinking, Dad." You know, you, there's something going on. They've acknowledged I got to make some changes. Well, this is where having that open dialogue with a trusted supervisor, one that you can feel you can go to, and there's no judgment, and you can have that conversation. There's all types of programs, whether you start with EAP through your local entity, or you can help with counseling. Hey, it's okay. It's okay to ask for help, for assistance. It doesn't mean you're not a good cop. Doesn't mean you're not a strong warrior and you can't go out and handle business. We know you can do that. It's the aftermath now we're dealing with. That is the biggest opponent sometimes in the room. And a lot of cops, a lot of officers, they just don't ask for help. And then sometimes it's too late when you hear about not a good example, but an example. You hear about a law officer that commits suicide, and the first thing you say was, "I didn't know anything was wrong." Something's going. That's like how do we get there that no one knew that was with that officer? No one had that relation. No supervisor. No one had that relationship to talking to that officer to even go to the supervisor. Hey, Officer A, we have to take some steps here to help him or her. They're struggling with some things, and not all of it's police related. Sometimes if you're going through a divorce, it does feel like your world is ending. Sometimes if you're losing a loved one to a health battle and their time here with us is about to end, that knowing the pending grief that's about to occur, that's life altering. And a lot of young officers, heck, a lot of officers in general can't handle that. And that might be that one situation that pushes them over the top where it's now their behavior changes at work. They're not acting like they should be. Their past practice is now different. You're getting complaints, whether it be use of force complaints increased or just something as simple as their demeanor. You're getting demeanor complaints because they appear to be rude or rigid and too short on calls, and citizens are complaining, and that's not like this officer. That should be a deeper dive, not just discipline, not just retraining. Simple question, what's going on? How how can I help? How can we not end up here? If there's something more, I want to help and be sincere about it. Not everybody's going to speak to you. Not everybody, some people are going to still push on and try to resolve it themselves. But if you keep, how can I help? I see things haven't corrected. The ship hasn't corrected course. How can I help? I want to help you. It's not necessarily I want to set you up for discipline. And officers need to hear that. This is not a discipline thing. I want to see you here. What's your 5 year plan? Well, my 5 year plan is this. I want to see you here in 5 years healthy. That's
Yeah.
my 5 year plan for you. How can I get you there? I think that is an opportunity we can give our young officers and those that we lead a chance to be open with us and not feel like judgment's going to be passed. It's going to hurt promotions. It's going to hurt their career, or I'm going to run down a hall like it's high school and start whispering to different people about Officer A's problem. No, no, no. This is confidential. It's between you and I, and I'm here to help you. And I'm gonna do the best I can to help you and get you the services you need. And it's going to be confidential as far as I can take it until, like, if human resources is asking, well, which officer? That's again within this department, no one's going to know. If we can do that, I think we can start scratching the surface on helping officers, not just young officers, but officers in general. It's not just the younger officers. We're talking about officers that have been on a job for years that are going through issues and or having some issues where, again, whether it's work related or at home, and they're trying to manage this by themselves. And it's not that we're not willing to help. I don't know if they really understand that we can help.
I think that's really great advice. And I think, like you said, the first step is really having them acknowledge it and then feeling comfortable talking to somebody about it and creating that environment where they feel trusted and they feel like they can come to you and talk to you
Mhm.
or someone within the department.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. It's I think communication is key here
Mhm.
to catch a lot of things. If we're not communicating, and again, it starts with the top. If I'm not willing to communicate with my subordinates, except to talk about policy or how to respond to this, if I'm not willing to open up the dialogue, that officer's never going to want to open or even um, uh, uh, try to bring up a topic that's beyond policing. Although your mental health, your well-being is part of policing, and I think it needs to be more on the front and upfront. When you address your platoons, I did it. Hey guys, if you need me, I don't care what time it is. This is my cell phone number. It's my personal number. I'm going to answer. I don't care what it is, whether you need a ride home from the bar, no judgment. I'd rather I come pick you up or get you a ride. I'm gonna get you a ride home, and not I'd rather that than you get arrested for DUI or do something that'll damage your career or hurt somebody or yourself. I'm always here for you. And I didn't just say it jokingly. It was, I'm here for you. Please come to me. And again, when officers did come to me, that is between them and myself. And even to this day, it does not leave that room. And I'm going to help you. I'm going to do everything I can to help you. And I believe if that mentality was throughout all the ranks and leadership, I think we can scratch the surface of this and helping officers with wellness and safety, because then they see that you as a leader believe in it, it's something that maybe rub off on them and they'll begin to believe in it. And then one day when you're retired and now they're the sergeant, lieutenant, they're passing down those same things, those same characteristics, obviously updated and revised with time to their subordinates. And then that cycle, that culture is now that you had to start in years ago is now blooming.
Yeah, I mean, that it starts with the conversation and the trust, just like you said.
Yeah.
Yeah. You retired and then you came back into the career. Did leaving policing help you like from learn like a different perspective into leadership, taking that little break? What happened for you during that time?
Yes, leaving was something that had to happen. I spent, yeah, and this is probably the story of most police officers that retire after 2 decades. You realize, and again, it was in my blind spot. My wife had to sit down with me because I wanted to stay in, and she had like, look, we're down to our last two kids in the household that are going through high school and are about to enter college, and came to an agreement that I had missed enough and I wanted to actually be there, take a regular private sector job, would allow me to schedule to be there for all their events, and see them through graduation, getting through college and everything, which was very refreshing, but it also gave me a chance to go into the private sector. I went into corporate security, and that is quite different than law enforcement. Just the way you engage your customers, the way you engage the people you are there to protect and serve, it's a different interaction. It just was so refreshing, and I can never trade that. The 4.5 years I got there, that was literally a college education on just the whole private sector and just dealing with the customer, dealing with people you're there to protect, and just how to move in those circles. I've taken that, and when an opportunity came up, let's rewind a little bit. The opportunity came up to be chief was something that when I left policing, me and my wife, she said when the timing is right, you can apply for chief jobs and try it again. I had prepared in that 4.5 years to be ready for when the chief job comes up. And it came up here in Pleasant Valley School District. And coming here, I feel because school district policing is quite different than municipal policing. You're more dialed into the safety features of the building, evacuation protocol, things I had learned at my private sector that you don't get as a police officer on the street. So again, I happen to get things that prepare me for this role. It definitely is a different. It's different than municipal policing. Um, I could say, I think the main difference is the population I serve is primarily are the kids, over 4,500 kids in this district, compared to the few hundred staff. So your primary base of who you're keeping safe are children. That weighs on you. Honestly, you come in with a different mindset that my whole goal every day is to make sure every last child goes home safe. And it weighs on you. Throughout
Especially
now
having
that
kids
I'm in the summer,
yourself.
excuse me.
Especially having kids yourself.
Yes, and and what everything that goes on in society with these school shootings and these assailants attacking schools and just doing different things, you hyper vigilant again because now I'm hyper vigilant again. I have the tools to help me manage it, but I'm also understand there is a heavy weight, and I understand that. There's some days I do go home and it's crushing that you read something that happened across the country and you just wonder how are we prepared? You think you're prepared until that situation comes up and you start going through policy, say, do I need to update this? Do we need to train toward for that? And it's never ending. But it's again fulfilling at the end of the day. Having this first year under my belt, It was a good year. I know not every year is going to be like this, so I'm going to hold on to this. But ultimately, municipal policing, private sector, all that has prepared me for this. When I was in municipal policing, I was a community police officer. So it's not like I didn't know how to speak to people with respect and I was trained in community policing. I got in early on. I was a school resource officer. So it's not that I didn't know how to speak to people. I think what happens when you're on the street as a police officer, you see people sometimes as threats that just might just want to talk to you. So you're on guard when someone approaches you. You might be on a traffic stop, you turn around, and there's a citizen on the sidewalk there. Officer, I got a question. You're on guard, like, is he trying to set me up? Is he trying to get me to say something on video? You're on guard. Then I go into the private sector, and that is completely the opposite. Your interaction with the people you're there to serve is complete 180. It's I wouldn't say it's like a party every day, to be honest with you. As long as you do your job and keep them safe, you're the rock star. That was how it was at my prior job, and it's kind of the same here. We are invisible to a point. Public safety is something you only count on when you really need it. Outside of that, you want them to be invisible and make sure the district is safe. And that's my job. And I love that because it does closely mirror that private sector. Now, are there few times where it does kick in the municipal policing side, something happens and you have to shift gears? Again, it's like riding a bike. You don't forget how to be a cop. It comes back really quick when the adrenaline starts pumping. But for the most part, I think I spend my days now preparing for the worst and hoping for the best. Honestly.
Yeah. What's something in this last year that the kids have taught you?
Well, the kids have taught me how to be more to be better with technology
Mhm.
because they are using apps and different things that I didn't know existed, and it forces me to take additional training on AI and the different apps, how kids get around our little features here we use to protect them from the internet. The kids have found a way to get around those filtering applications that the adults put in, and it's interesting to see how hard they work to get at things we don't want them to see. So they've taught me to be diligent and to always don't always think that technology or anything is the end all. There's always a way around, and there's always somebody out there that will give it away for free. How to beat a system, how to beat a defense, how to beat a web filtering protocol software. There's always someone out there, and that's what TikTok, or there's always someone that's going to give it away for free. And you just have to be aware of that, stay on top of all these applications and talk to whoever your account manager is. Like, hey, the kids are using this. What do you have that's going to offset this? You have to be, you just can't be you just can't come here and just, this is not a retirement job. How about that? You have to be willing to learn on the fly. And this is the hard one to, to kind of, I still like sometimes you're able to see how the kids write and text each other and use acronyms and shorthand. I still can't understand that. I have to go to like my kids. Can you translate this for me? Seriously, I
Yeah.
cannot translate this. I want to know what they're talking about. I don't know how they do it because it's when you get it, you're like, oh my gosh, how did I miss that? It's right there, but you have to open your mind and be willing to say, I need help. I think it goes back full circle. I need a little help with this. I'm an older person and I'm not ashamed to admit that. And I'm not ashamed to ask for help. But you know what? I may be an older person. The kids keep me young.
Yeah.
They keep me going. I come into work energized. I come in fully energized and I give it my all every day to them and their safety. And I can't forget about the staff because the staff is fighting the same battle I am. I know I'm talking about the older ones.
Yeah.
They're fighting the same battle I am, except they're in the classroom for whatever their instruction block is. I get to walk away and walk the halls. So it's that thing. I think ultimately what the kids, they have taught me how to not just crash at the end of the day, that there's still more to do. But when you get out it, when the day is over, let it be over. You can
Yeah.
revisit it tomorrow.
Yeah. And you said your kids have all graduated from college already?
I have one left. He is a junior, the baby, we call him.
Oh.
He's a junior. He's heading to his junior year. So he's my go-to. I will text him stuff. Hey, what does this mean? My daughter just above him, she's in law school. They're both social media savvy. They came up in that era, and they start off while making fun of my age, and then they tell me what it means. But I'm okay with that. I have a good sense of humor. I can take it. So I understand when I ask for help, I got to take a little bit, but it's worth it getting the answer.
Right. I was going to say they might be like at a point where they're starting to not know what's going on in the schools.
Well, they stay dialed in.
Yeah.
It's that they stay dialed in with the social media.
Hmm.
They're on all the apps. So yesterday, my son was making fun of me because it took me like 15 minutes to order food online because I'm really slow because I want to get it right. But that's just me, and I accept it. But because he can do it, they can order food in 5 minutes, boom, and they're done. It takes me forever, but it's okay. I know my father, well, we didn't really have great technology when I was coming up, but I made fun of him too. So it's full circle moment and I accept it. I love it. And the kids, they are really good with me here. They don't beat me up too bad when I say older people things. I'll say it like that. When they don't make fun of me too bad. They let me know. But it's when you develop that relationship though, that that student is comfortable having that dialogue with you, that's when I know I'm doing my job. When
Yeah.
you can make fun of me and I can laugh and that child feels comfortable in that moment laughing at me for being, I'm okay with that. And that means I'm doing my job and my team, they're doing their job, that they can move about the building, see my guys in uniform, my team in uniform and feel they can walk up to them, tell them the joke of the day or talk about what the Knicks winning, whatever it is, and they feel comfortable doing that, then we are all doing our job here.
Yeah. It's creating that culture and that family unit that everybody wants. So
Hmm.
what
Yes.
words of wisdom do you have for our younger generations?
Words of wisdom. Yes. I really thought about this, and I'm about to use a term, not a bad term, but a term. It listen to the dinosaurs. Now, let me explain. The dinosaurs in my police department, you become a dinosaur when you have 100 badge numbers beneath you. You keep your badge number for life. Mine was 310. So when 410 was hired and got his badge number, I became a dinosaur. You get a little dinosaur cutout or something. The guys on the platoon give you a little dinosaur gift with that person's badge number on it. So you know you've reached that age. It's normally about 12, 13, maybe 14 years in, you become a dinosaur. It takes that long to get 100 badge numbers beneath you. What I would tell any young officer, and what I mean by dinosaurs, I'm talking about senior officers. It's not always about rank. Some of your best information you're going to get is from that grizzled veteran that has been in that patrol car, been in that community, been in every house in the city, is going to give you, and it might be a 3-minute conversation, but they're giving you good advice. Listen, don't cut them off, don't cut them short, don't walk out saying, that old guy don't know what he's. Mm-mm. Listen, if I could talk to myself before, right out of the academy, listen to the older officers. They know what they're talking about. It might not make sense now. Give them a chance. You'll weed out the good information from the bad information. You will. But for the most part, those older officers, they're telling you from experience. They're giving you a lot of life lessons. And some of those lessons have nothing to do with police. Some of those officers have been divorced multiple times and will tell you, this is why I got divorced. So don't do this, kid. Don't just blow them off thinking you're God's gift to all. No, no, no. Listen to what they're going to tell you. If you're going to go and not be faithful, you're going to have a short marriage. Don't do it. Listen to that advice. There's things that they're going to give you that's going to be work related, like, hey, you're dealing with so and so. He's probably going to sucker punch you at some point in your contact. You need to be ready and you need to be on guard. Just if you blow that one off, that's going to be a bad day for you. Again, it's listening to those older officers, not thinking you knew everything, because you don't. If you knew everything, you would be hired as chief from day one, but you weren't. You were hired as a patrol officer, rookie, right out the academy. You have so much to learn, and it's okay. And it may take you 10 years to learn a good amount to be ready to get promoted. It's okay. Not everybody gets promoted at 5 years. Okay. 12 years. Yours truly. It's you're going to get promoted when the time is right and when you're ready to take on that leadership mantle. We don't want to badmouth supervisors, but I can tell you, not everybody should be a supervisor. And sometimes people are promoted before they really should have been promoted. Lack of maturity, lack of experience. But because there was an opening and they did well on the test, they get promoted. I know when I went through the process, I made sure I was ready. Before I made sure I was ready to take on. I was ready to take that call to say, you're next up. Are you ready to be a sergeant? Because I knew the importance of it. And listen to those older officers and those supervisors, particularly those sergeants. They're the ones that are with you all the time. Listen to what they have to say. Listen and make your own decision. Don't let someone else say this person is that person. This person A is a, I don't know, jerk. You talk to that person. You don't let that person decide how you feel about anyone, especially one of your brothers or sisters in blue. That's something for you to go out and experience, because that person may have had a bad relationship with that officer, and now you're cutting yourself short because that's a friendship, that's knowledge, that's experience, wisdom you might be losing out on that may well save your life one day because you didn't give that person a chance based off a statement about someone that you probably should experience for yourself if you can.
You for sharing that. I think that is really important advice. Don't let other people's opinions of someone else influence your own. Thank you so
Yes.
much for being here, Chief Bronson, and sharing your advice and wisdom.
Jess, thank you for having me. This is an opportunity that it's it's a good opportunity. It opened up some things inside of me that now I got to go back and make sure I'm walking the walk. I'm not just talking it. I got to go back and make sure I'm living the right life. I'm in a position now, and I want to make sure my men and women that I lead, not only when they see this, they say, "Well, he's doing that. He's not just talking about it. I want to be doing it." So I got to go back and make sure I am. I think I am, but again, it could be in my blind spot. And that's where I'm gonna go home and ask the person closest to me, am I being a good leader based off what you're seeing and hearing? And my wife is honest. She'll tell me,
Yeah.
you might want to work on this. And that's tough to swallow for me, my pride, but I'm going to hold on to that and I'm going to work on fixing whatever comes out. And if an officer watches this that comes up and says something, let's talk about it. How can I be better? How can I better serve you is how I want to frame it.
Think
But
about it all
thank
the
you.
time. Yeah, how can we be better? And always check our blind spots. That will
Yes.
only make us better and prevent accidents.